My name is Brian Bateson. I'm a landscape architect here in Portland, Oregon, and today we're here at the Portland Memory Garden. It's what's called a healing garden. Healing gardens are places that support various, could be physical or behavioral issues that people have. The Portland Memory Garden was specifically designed for people with memory issues, dementia and Alzheimer's. The garden was created about 12 years ago. I was one of about 24 landscape architects that helped design the garden. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the characteristics that make up the garden and what it took to create this garden and make it available to the public. So today we're going to talk about benign and supportive conditions. Benign and supportive conditions in relationship to the Portland Memory Garden are the features that make it a nice place and a safe place for the population we're trying to serve. Shades are really important, probably one of the most important benign and supportive conditions. Hot sun, the heat of the sun can really be a detriment to being able to get outside. It's one of the things that really keeps people indoors in the summertime. So in this garden, we wanted to have lots of different types of shade and protection from the weather in general. We have shade structures like the one we're under. We have trellises. We have lots of trees that were planted. One of the reasons we chose this site in particular was because there were a lot of old mature trees here before we even built the garden that provided immediate shade. And then we planted many, many trees throughout the garden that now have started to mature and really provide the shade, and those again create that benign and supportive condition. Another great example of that would be all of the seating in the garden. The benches in this garden were picked out particularly because they have big wide armrests, nice big straight backs. They're very easy to get in and out of. If you need a little bit of extra support to lower yourself down into the seat or to lift yourself out of the seat because you might have a hip issue or a knee issue, these benches were chosen for that. You don't have to walk very far in this garden before you can find a place to sit. Pretty much you can see from one bench to the next bench, and you know that you can make it to the bench. Another great benign and supportive condition of the garden is the fact that this garden is fully fenced. We have a nice 6-foot tall fence all the way around the garden. If you're a caregiver, a big part of your worry is that the person you're trying to take care of will just wander off. But the fact that there's only one way to get in and out of the garden, a caregiver can sit down at one of the benches at the front entry and allow the person they're here with to just wander through the garden, and they don't have to worry that person is going to get into the street or into traffic. The entry gates are actually designed so that they can be closed. It gives the caregivers one less thing to have to worry about. Other things is nice wide walkways. All of our walkways are concrete, so they're fairly smooth and even. Many of the users of this garden come here and use wheelchairs or walkers, and they're here with a caregiver. And there may be multiple people here at one time, so we have nice wide generous walkways that allow people to pass, people to stop and enjoy the plants and not be in other people's ways. Not only are the walkways wide, the concrete is colored, and it's two-tone colored. We have an edge color and we have a center color. The coloring of the concrete does a couple of things. One is it cuts down on glare. So on a sunny day, you get a lot less glare off of the pavement. Glare and reflective light, particularly in an aging eye, can cause someone to trip and fall. It can cause them to lose their balance. The lighter edge band actually allows the walkway to be read by somebody who has poor vision as an edge so they don't wander off concrete. Another feature that you'll notice in this garden is a feature of the structure that we're sitting underneath, and that's its translucent roof. The primary things that it does is that on a sunny day where you can get really dark shadow lines between the shade and the sunlight, that dark shadow line for someone with an aging eye, someone with dementia, they can actually see that shadow line as a grade change, as a step. And they'll actually try to make it a step and then trip and fall. The translucent roof allows light to come through so you don't get that dark shadow line. The translucent roof also provides, on a day like today where it's a fairly cloudy day, enough light to come through the structure so that where we're standing right now is still a fairly bright, comfortable space. But yet it's not so transparent that on a hot sunny day, it's still a nice shady spot underneath here. This is a feature that allows more people to use this garden more times of the year. Plants are very important in a healing garden, and particularly in the memory garden. And one of the things we want to do is provide people access to those plants. We have raised beds of all different heights and sizes, from low raised beds about 18 inches tall to high raised beds that are about 2.5 feet tall. What that does is allows people who can't bend over to have access to plant material. People who are in a wheelchair or are using a walker to still be able to get up close to plants, feel them, touch them, smell them. We wanted to create a place where a caregiver can bring someone out here and know that they could stay in the garden for a while. One of the elements that allows them to do that is the fact that we have a restroom here in the garden. We also have drinking fountains. Again, hot summer day, or sometimes medications people are taking, they need access to water. We have that here in the garden, so if you're a caretaker, you don't have to worry about, we can only stay in the garden for so long because we're going to take a bathroom break. That feature is here and accessible for everyone. So those are just some of the things that are benign and supportive conditions in this garden.